Good day to one and all. This is Dr. Sivaraman of iknowindices.com. We are into the new week. In this week, we have 6th to 10th of June, Monday to Friday. And today we are on Monday, 6th of June. Between 5 and 5:30 GMT, I'll try to give you in this webinar the session-wise forecast for this week. And also, I'll give the levels in which the currencies are expected to swing, the four majors and two commodity pairs. Besides, we will also do the market reading and fine-tune the forecast and see what has happened last week as well as this week, what the market is expected to show us. Now, during the start of the day, by looking at the live market quote page or the chart, people would have got really astonished when GBP has made about 150 pips downward extended stop point. So the attribute for that is the Britain exit from the European Communion. So here people say that out of fear, GBP has weakened. So normally we tend to believe it, but still the voting has not happened and the outcome has not come and the actual data has not been released. But normally we know very well the players create the fear and make all the moves like this. Even before that of the non-farm payroll, they just made the drop in the case of Euro and GBP and said that probably there will be US dollar gaining moves all along. And subsequently, they said that non-farm payroll is dismal, and as a result, they gained the levels in the case of Euro and GBP as a quick move. On Friday, when I was giving the spike trade call, I was explaining that all quick moves are false moves in the market. So they made a very quick rise in the case of Euro and GBP and dumped all their buy positions so that they just happily went out for the weekend with a profit. And now they have to buy against their sells. And this week again, they have to make the buy, and then only they can rise to the higher levels and book profit. So for that, they just made an extended downward stop in the case of GBP by creating the fear. And this shows very clearly that they are going to make a shift in trading zone to that of the higher level. As I explained during that of the trading zones, how exactly the players are making the three different levels of trading zones, namely the lower level consolidation with frequent downward stop point. And then after an extended downward stop point, they gain quickly the level to that of the middle level consolidation. Then middle level consolidation we can identify when they make either way stop points. So on the downside as well as on the upside, they will make the stop points and consolidate there and make one extended downward stop and push it to the higher level and make the higher level consolidation with upward stop points. So frequent upward stop point will be there. And when they want to reverse it to the middle level, they will make extended stop point on the higher side and drop it. So here now they have just done the extended downward stop point in the case of GBP in order to gain massively GBP on the upside. So I do not know the outcome of the British exit, etc. But I can tell you that the players want to gain the levels because we are trying to read the intentions of the players. How do you identify an extended stop point from that of a stop point? A stop point is the one which happens in less than 30 minutes during the early and the late sessions, and they try to make about 20 to 30 pips downward move below that of the initial low and come above, or above that of the initial high and go below. That is stop point. So within the session, they try to do it in less than 30 minutes. And an extended stop point is the one They make a quick downward move for about 150 pips, as if the world has come to an end, and then stop cutting the new low for 30 minutes, start gaining the levels, and slowly hold like this. And it will give the impression that it is a sell level, and subsequently they are expected to gain further levels. But actually, what will happen? They pretend as if they are going to drop it and then continue to gain within the session or the start of the next session and continue to gain. And then at the end of the day, you will find they will breach the high and go above and settle there. So this is how they make the moves in the market as an extended stop it. So you are seeing it physically, and during that of the trend reversal time, they make such moves, and they are making an upward trend reversal, and that is why they have made the extended downward stop. And if you are afraid of anything, that probably the outcome of the exit poll, etc., might be different, but I can assure you the players are expected to gain more levels in the case of GBP, giving some other attribute or whatever it is. So ultimately, we are trying to read their intentions from time to time by following the forecast, then fine-tune it with a market reading. And also we try to use the trading strategy to limit the risk and maximize the profit. And a similar extended downward stop, and they have done it in the case of USDN on Friday. And today they have done it in the case of GBP. And you will come across, but USD did not make such a big drop. But in the case of yen, they made more than 200 pips on Friday. That is mainly to reverse and gain more levels, along with that of GBP as well as Euro. Now, these are all the expected market moves for this week. So, the first week of June, 6th to 10th of June, that is, so monthly trending time, swing and rise moves are to be seen in the market. So, each session timings are given. Each session, what sort of move they are expected to make is also shown. Now today they are expected to make a swing and form of during that of the Japanese session and gain during that of the European session by creating a lot of fear, and then subsequently during the US session they are expected to make the slide, so that week beginning they are able to do the lower level consolidation and try to accumulate the buy positions for this week. And then tomorrow again during the Japanese session, they are expected to make a brief downward move and then start gaining the levels from that of tomorrow European session and continue the gain during that of the US session. Then on Wednesday, they are expected to make a dip and rise during that of the Japanese session, swing and slide during that of the European session, and rise during that of the US session. Then you will come across a similar move, swing and rise, slide and rise are expected during that of Thursday. Then Friday, they are expected to all through gain the levels. Next week, again, they are expected to make more swing, less drop and more rise moves are to be seen 13th to 17th of June. So ultimately, keep in mind by looking into that of the live market and also price action in the market, we are able to read that they have done the extended downward stop in the currencies, mainly USD as well as GBP, and they are expected to gain the levels in both. So they are going to make the contrarian move. That we have to keep it in mind. Many people are of the opinion that when GBP rise, USD has to drop. But what they do is they gain the levels in the case of USD to start with and hold it at a higher level, telling some stories, and then gain the levels in the case of GBP and Euro also. That is how they do it. So be prepared for such contrarian moves and trade accordingly. Don't go with it of your own sentiments or with it of the market created sentiments, and such sentiments are being created in the market by that of the players. And once the traders commit positions, the players are expected to act against it of the traders by making unexpected moves Thereby, the traders continue to develop the surplus and lose the money. Now, these are all the ranges in which the currencies are expected to swing. So, euro could briefly touch 1.1275 needed, below that of 1.13 during that of the downward extended move, extended stop, and then subsequently gain the levels. And in the case of GBP, they are already breached 44 level, and they are expected to go above today by 1.4481 and go further higher in coming days. And in the case of yen again, they made the extended downward stop, and they are going to make one-sided gains in the case of USD and 211. And in the case of USD CHF, they are expected to make a brief consolidation at the lower level when euro is rising, and then followed by that, they will gain the levels in the case of USD CHF also. Canadian dollar is expected to make a brief downward stop and then continue to gain the level to 1.31 and swing around in this region. And in the case of Australian dollar, they are holding the levels after gaining it to 73, and slowly they are expected to go to 75 area. So these are all the ranges in which the currencies are expected to swing in this particular week. Keep in mind that these are all mathematically derived levels, and there can be slight variations, but still the trend is expected to be there in line with that of the forecast. Now, coming to that of the market reading, I noted down the initial lows and the highs in all the four majors and two commodity pairs, and we are going to now compare it with that of the live market quote page. So from time to time, we compare it to that of the live market quote page, find out what the players are trying to do. The case of euro 1.1341 was the initial low. They came down to 1.1336 and come above in less than 30 minutes. So it shows they have done a brief downward stop, and they are expected to breach the high and go above. And in the case of yen, 106.38 is the low, which is now breached. 107.06 was the initial high. They breached and went up to 107.19, and it will appear as if they had done a brief upward stop and come below that of 107.06, but they will swing here and then start gaining as well. So keep in mind that USD is not going to make for the downward move. It is expected to gain the levels because they are done already on Friday. They extended stop and in order to make a shift in trading zone to that of the higher level. Because on Friday they had done the extended stop and mainly to handle extreme levels for the week beginning, the month beginning time. So month beginning they have to hit all the derivative markets and earn money. That is why they show the extreme levels of the highest level on Monday and the lowest level on Friday in the case of USD yen. Then in the case of CHF, 97.58 is the low and 97.75 is the high. They just breached the high by 1 pip. So they are making small consolidation here. In the case of Canadian dollar, 1.2942 is the low, 1.2973 is the initial high. They just breached the high by 1 pip. So they intend to gain the levels as well. And in the case of Australian dollar, 73.16 is the low and 73.71 is the high. They are not breached the low or the high, and it shows that they are going to make mixed moves in the market. And at the moment, they are showing that Euro, GBP, and Australian dollar negative net change, USD and USD CHF and Canadian dollar positive net change as a typical USD gaining move. Slowly, they will bring in the contrarian moves in the market. So as far as the trading is concerned, I just kept the buy order near that of the initial low, 1.1341, that got filled and they started showing the gain. And once it gains over 15 to 20 pips, I'll keep stop at entry and then trail the exit order on the higher side. Thereby, we'll be able to maximize the profit. So On 8th of, that is Wednesday, I will give Tracking Live the Forex Market Together webinar for nearly about 3 hours during that of the European session, in order to show how exactly we take the trading decision and how exactly we read the intentions of the players following the type of moves they are making in the market. I'll explain to you the type of moves and then identify from that of the market price action what move they are doing, it showing the time frame, so that you will be able to really understand how we have to track the market using the live market code page, leaving alone the chart and also the fundamentals. Then you will be able to really find that you are able to make money. But you have to give importance to that of the market trigger times, namely the data release, etc. During that time, the volume will go up and also the players will make whips or moves. And you can read that also by identifying the false move they are making before that of the data release time, and then take positions accordingly. On Friday, when I was giving the call, spike trade calls for non-farm payroll, I was explaining to you that they are making the brief downward move before that of the non-farm payroll as a false move, and exactly after that of the non-farm payroll, they gained the levels. So even if the non-farm payroll numbers are good, in spite of that, they will gain the levels. That is what most important thing for us to know. It is not that the fundamental has driven it. If that is the case, now you find GBP has lost all the gains what it has made on Friday. So can you give the weightage for non-farm payroll to that of the British exit? No, it is not possible. They are not comparable. And so that is how they make the moves in the market. The up and down moves are part of the game in the market and continue to give the surprise to the other traders. But we have to eliminate that surprise by trying to take appropriately the position. I kept the buy limit order in the case of GBP near that of the low, just not filled, and now they are holding it. During that of the late session, you could make a brief downward stop and or a brief dip to that of 1.4384, about 10 pips. They could, or 10 to 15 pips, they could come down. At that time, we can take a buy. Then later on, during that of the European and the US session, they are expected to gain the levels continuously. And then we will understand they finished the extended downward stop. And in order to make a continuous gain in the case of GBP, after that of the British exit condition. Then in the case of USD, and also they made a brief downward stop, and below that of Friday low 106.52, they came down below that for about 10 to 11 pips and then started gaining the levels, and they are expected to gain straight away to 108, 109, and you will be able to see that how continuously they are able to push the market on the higher side, because USDN is known for such one-sided moves. And the thing is, they will not make any swing. They will hold the gain level, make about 5-10 pips swing, then gain level. That sort of move they will do. And if we think that support and resistance we can follow and try to take sell position, they will trap all the level sellers. This is what happens every time. And so the behavior of each currency we need to understand. And also, you know very well, GBP is the currency, they use it in order to create the market sentiment. So after seeing GBP drop, many might take sell positions in the case of Euro. That's why they made a brief downward stop and started gaining the levels. And so this is what normally happens among the traders. So they look into one currency, correlate it to another currency and take position, and later on get disappointed when they are trapped. So always we have to find out with the help of the live market code page what sort of moves they are doing it. If they are making a massive USD gaining or USD weakening move, then you can correlate the currencies and try to take positions. But during the normal time, before that of the prime data release, they use variable moves. That is, they make the contrarian move of some currency is showing USD gaining move, some other currency is showing USD making weakening move as a mixed move. As a result, they are in a position to bring in more volatility in the case of crosses. Now, these are all the session-wise timings, and you can follow it with the help of the early and the late sessions. They handle the majors, and the mid sessions they handle the crosses. So with the help of this time frame, you can easily identify the swing is here happening, then rise mean during the late session, then swing means here early European, slide means during that of the late session. So you can exactly note down the timings and see they are doing it following these timings. And gap time means false move. They will just make opposite to that of the move what they intend to do during that of the session. So keep all those things in mind. On Friday, you would have noticed that between that of the European and the US session, that is after that of the non-farm payroll release, they gained quickly the levels, started making the drop from that of the high during that of the gap time. And the early session, they made a middle level consolidation, started gaining towards the close. So that is how they make it. So if you follow the timing, then you will find the entry time and the exit time will really help you to make money without any fear. So if you've got any question, you can ask me the questions through the chat window, and I am willing to answer to those questions. Then on 10th of June, I'll come back and give the review part of this particular forecast, what I have given it today. That is how exactly the market has moved in line with the expectations or against. We will review it and then come to the conclusion how the forecast is dependable and how exactly the trading strategy is able to really help us to eliminate the market fear. Then in order to do the market reading, forecast is mine based on my statistical algorithm. But market reading, anybody can do it. So that's what I am going to teach on 8th of June between 8 and 10:50 GMT. I will explain to you how exactly the market reading has to be done for nearly about almost close to 3 hours. And then between 14 to 15 GMT, 1 hour during the day of the US session, I'll explain how this trading system is simple at the same time very effective in making money from the other market. I'm explaining all those things without expecting any reward from anybody, but I am doing this mainly to help the small traders who assume that whatever others said are the prime factor for that of the traders in the Forex market. Normally, they enter into the market without knowing much of an idea about the market. And later on, they follow various analysts and try to see that it works for some time and later on it does not work, and then they shift it to some other analyst, and that is how they continue to shift their focus. But in the process, since they are doing the live experiments, in that they learn it by paying heavy penalty. So they lose every time at the end of the trend reversal time when the calls are not coming through, and then they say that this analyst of no use, then go to another analyst and try to trade. And so normally they find that, okay, the market has to be bullish because somebody says it is bullish. Then they take the buy and sell, and then later on see that the market drops. Then immediately he just say that he is useless and go to some other person. So he failed to understand that he is not learning anything and he is trying to do the test with his money on somebody. So it is nothing but gamble. So you try to bet on the horse in a horse trading, horse race. You bet on the horse wherein you don't have any control over the horse. You try to see the the past performance of the horse and try to bet on that. And later on, sometimes you may earn or sometimes you may lose. So it becomes a simple gambling strategy. So in a gambling situation, obviously the winning and the losing chances will be 50-50 each time. And that process, you find that you earn some and lose it again. Earn some, lose it again, and say that I have been in the Forex market for more than 5 years, 10 years. Okay, have you built a house? No. My equity gone down. I was trading with $50,000 or $100K, and subsequently now I am trading an account with $5,000 or $2,000. And so this is how many people lose their shirt and still they become addicted to trading and try to find how exactly they can earn back the lost money. So please understand, trading is an art, and you need to learn the art perfectly in order to make money from that other market. And for that, you need to read the intentions of the opponent. The opponent, or namely the players. The players have got huge money power, so we can't fight against them. We need to read their intentions. At the same time, we need to read their limitations so that we'll be able to trade wisely. So those things I'll explain to you on 8th Wednesday during my tracking live the Forex market together, part 1 and part 2. I don't see any question coming forward. If there is any question, kindly. Is there a difficulty in posting the questions? I'm not sure. Okay, I'll show the focus slide. Okay, the expected market moves for this particular week is being displayed here, and you can take a screenshot. Otherwise, this is being recorded and displayed in FX Street as well as YouTube, and then you can follow it by visiting to that of the recording and note down what sort of moves they are expected to make on each day. Then keep in mind that they are going to make the upward shift in trading zone after that of the GBP extended downward stoppant. A singled out extended stoppant is an indication for the quick upward shift in trading zone. So by Friday, we will be able to confirm it. Okay, thank you, KB. So there is no more question. So I take this opportunity to thank FX Street for the facilities provided to present the webinar. I will come back on Wednesday and give you the methodology of trading, how we can follow the forecast and fine-tune the forecast by using market trading, and also use the trading strategy to limit the risk and maximize the profit. So when I show it live for 3 hours, you'll be able to really understand and find how simple it is to make trading. Trading is a child's play, but actually the market fear make it more complicated, and thereby we lose. And we have a common saying, buy low and sell high. But out of market fear and out of confusions, we always try to do the buy high and sell low and lose the money. So keep in mind, our common logistics continue to work in the market, but we think it doesn't work and it needs a sophisticated study, not at all. So ultimately, understanding the players who are making the market moves is important. So wish you all happy trading. See you on Wednesday. I'll come back with another monthly forecast.